Welcome back, everybody. Back to our DevOps slash SRE interview questions and answers series. Today, we're going to go over 3 more questions. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. That helps me with YouTube's algorithm, so more people can benefit from these videos. All right, let's get started. The first question today, and as you can see in the list, I'm going to do more and more of these things because people seem to really care about these kind of videos. So I have a long list of questions I'm going to make videos about. All right, first one today, difference between CI and CD. First of all, CI stands for continuous integration and CD stands for continuous deployment. When a developer writes a code, that code by itself can't really go live. It might need libraries. It might live on a Docker container. It might live on a virtual machines. It might have to integrate with other part of the software or other part of libraries, whatever it needs, right? The code by itself can't go live by itself. So whatever you need to make your latest version of your code to build what's called artifacts, right? Artifacts are jar files, war files, Docker images, whatnot, right? Things that get created from the new version of the code. To get to that, the endpoint, right? That artifact, whatever needs to happen, that's called integration. And continuous integration means whenever a developer merges his or her code into the master branch, some pipeline things will happen, and that those steps will create that artifact that is now deployable to production, right? It could be a jar file, war file, Docker image, what have you, right? That's continuous integration if we're able to do that all the time without in a pipeline so that you don't have to do any manual work. Continuous deployment picks up from where the artifact is created, right? And then gets deployed to production, right? So if let's say you have a Docker image that got created based on your latest version of your code, that container, if whatever steps you need to take that container image into live production servers, those steps are part of the pipelines, right? And then if it's fully automated, you can take the artifact that get created based on from continuous integration. You can then deploy that into production. If you have a pipeline automated for that, that's called continuous deployment. That means whenever I want to, I can take the newest code and take it to production. Because I have a pipeline set up, I push my button and here it goes, right? All the way to production. That's called continuous deployment if you're able to do this without any manual intervention, right? Most of the time in real life, you would have somebody who would actually approve the change. It might be daily, hourly. It might happen once a day. It might happen once a week, depending on how mature your pipeline is. All right. Next question: why do we need DevOps? What problem does it solve? This is more for a junior level interviewee. The question is really asking about a history, because if you know what you're doing, then you would know what the history is. So the answer to this question can vary a lot. People have their own definitions of DevOps and whatnot. But what problem does it solve is automation, right? Before DevOps was around, everything you might be able to do a production release maybe twice a month, maybe, at most once a week, maybe, right? And then you would have to have your code ready a week before that. So it was a huge thing, and problems would not show up in development environment. They would show up in production. There's many problems that happened because development and operations did not work together. There was no pipeline to take the latest code to production, and so on and so forth. So the problems that is solved: one, collaboration between developers and operations people, real close. It used to be far apart. Problem that is solved: it enables automation. It creates continuous integration. It creates continuous deployment. It removes what's called toil. I talked about that in a different video. It removes manual work. It removes mistakes, human errors from manual work, and many others. But that's what the main problem that is solved is: it creates automation and creates collaboration between developers and operations folks. Next question: if I give you a VM with a web server, or a Docker image with the web server, how would you take it to production? This question seems simple, but actually entails 8 or 9 pillars of DevOps that I talked about in a different video. So for your application to be has to be scalable, it has to be robust. You have to have a disaster recovery. You have to have runbooks. You have to have metrics that measures how well it's performing. You have to have alerts that alert when things are not performing. You have to have runbooks that will tell SRE folks what to do if there's a problem with your service for a given alert. What else? There are a couple of things I'm missing, but you should look at if you do a search on robustness of DevOps service on my videos, you will see a video that talks about all these pillars of DevOps service, right? So if I give you a virtual machine or a Docker image, you would have to tell me how you're going to have all those pillars solved before you can go to production. All right, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.